to Alex Van Halen and David Roth of Van Halen in Bradford last Wednesday evening, and one of the first surprises I had was to find out exactly how loud, incredibly loud in fact, David Roth's voice is even off stage. I was standing about 8 feet away from him, would you believe, during the interview, yet he still managed on some occasions to blow my microphone to oblivion. He also talked in great detail about what exactly are the ingredients of their music. Dave, Alex, it's really good to see you at last, because the reason we've travelled, I think, about well over 100 miles today was because I was unfortunate enough to miss the gig in Newcastle a couple of weeks ago. But it's been well worth coming down here tonight. Thank you. Actually interviewed a band. There's never been such a buzz in ages, at least as has been about this band.
All right.
Even when the album going back a couple of months, 3 months ago, when it was first released on import, everyone wanted the album, so you can imagine what the response was when the actual English release came out, the British release.
Well, Van Halen's been waiting to come to England for a long time. You know, this is kind of where a great deal of it started. You know, I don't have to tell you that. It's like, you know, we've been thinking about it, and then when the record started to click, we said, all right, might even have a few fans out there when we get on stage. And so, you know, we've been touring with Sabbath and going all through the United Kingdom and having a ball. The best thing is the audience is here, really participate fantastically. It's great. They get into it as much as we do and have a great time, and they get probably sweatier than we do. Because it smells that way. I'm just kidding. They're great. It's great to see the kids really get into it, because some places we played, it's been kind of laid back depending on who we open up for.
Yeah.
Because that's the audience that we're playing for. But with Sabbath, you know you're going to get yourself a good heavy-duty rock audience, and they're great. They get into it as much as we do.
But the one thing about this band, and it is something indefinable, is that you have something so original. And I can't remember quite which one of the bands said it earlier on tonight, but just after you came off stage, you said you go on there and you give them everything. But there's a lot of things involved in that statement, I think, behind it all, and I think a lot of it lies in the style you have, because it is just total 100% excitement in a way that we've never heard it before, from the minute you get on the stage or the minute they put your album on.
You just said it. That's it.
Well, what's the next question?
It's supposed to be spontaneous, you know. Van Halen is supposed to be vital. It's supposed to be passionate, and it's supposed to be very real. We're very human, you know, and you know, the key to it is they don't say you go on stage to work. They say you go on stage to play. Yeah. And that's the rub, man. That's where it lies, is that we have a great time making music with each other and making music for an audience, for people who want to, you know, be with us. And our music is very it's uplifting. It's very positive. Now, it's not to say we're just fun, you know, but it's up.
It makes you feel good.
Very positive energy. We take you through a lot of emotional changes on the record and live, and you know, one is a very good time song, and the other is a very, you know, down to earth, very bluesy, maybe even sad song. But when you walk away from the record player or you walk out of the concert, you say, I had a good time. I had fun. And that's it, man. That's what we want to see, you know. And we want it all or nothing when we're in the audience. So how can we give any less when we're on stage?
Yeah. From what we can gather, and if we can talk about the band's past for a while, that the way that we first heard of you, anyway, biographically, was that you were based roughly around California, gigging in and around Los Angeles, and it seemed that you did have a very, very rigorous kind of gigging time where, in the words of a rather hackneyed term, more or less, you did serve your apprenticeship. Then gradually more and more people noticed you. Then something happened, I think, which was very important, because you're one of the few bands who you can actually listen to the records and you can find the nearest thing you'll ever find on record to what the band can create on stage, and that doesn't happen with many bands.
Well, we try to make something that's very spontaneous and very sincere, and when I say that, I mean we don't go for massive overdubbing in the recording process. You know, we had one of the greatest producers around, and it could have easily, you know, gone into the magic of studio wizardry and whatnot. And we chose that as our concept, which has always been, is that if you can't play it, you know, just get up and play it, then maybe you don't really have it. It's like, we sing, we have guitars and drums, and that's about the basics, There's no keyboards, no chicks in the background going la la la, and so forth.
Or a saxophone section.
And that's the way it's always been, for the any of the greatest bands. It was good enough for the Beatles, and it was good enough for Elvis, and on and on. And that's what we do. We play big rock. That's what we call it, big rock. And that's the way we present our music, because we have songs. Some people say heavy metal. Heavy metal to me means 20 minutes worth of opus to the sky, transcend forever, blow my mind, goodbye. It's just, Van Halen plays like 3-4 minute songs. We have very short attention spans just as human beings. So we play songs. You got a chorus, you might be able to even sing along with a song or two,
We ourselves feel the way that most people do, so other people react to it the way that we normally do. We're happy when we play the song, so people relate to that. What else can you say? It's not calculated to be 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
We write a song, and it just happens to be.
That's the truth, too. That's the honest truth. These are intangible things. These aren't things that you can write down on paper or read on a graph somewhere or something. It's a vibe, whatever you want to call it. And it comes out, and you lose that when you start to go into making things perfect, or trying to overdub, a million times to make it sound full,
Which is easy to do in a studio, because you can go in there and overdub voice upon voice upon voice and make one voice sound like the whole tabernacle choir or something, It's not the way to go. Because once you get out in a live situation, you either have to use tapes or extra lighting or some kind of gimmick to make it come across. Yeah. And if it doesn't come out that way, the audience is disappointed. I myself have been disappointed before seeing bands that do not sound the same as they do on record.
I expect a band to sound better live than they do on record, And there are a number of bands who have this same concept. They want to play very straight on record, but so many times the music is dull, or it's not, whatever. It's not sophisticated enough that you can listen to it more than 7 times, We're trying to make something that's going to last for a number of years, something that'll bring enjoyment to people. It'll pop on the radio,
Because the songs are easy to sing along with, too. They have a melody, and it's easy to sing along with.
The lyrics are what we're all about, It's something, and we're working class, just like the rest of the world, just like California, which is just like England, which is just like the middle of Tokyo, which is just like everywhere. The working class is working class, and that's what we're all about. We write about that experience, those feelings, How many times have you leaned over to a girl and go, hey, you really got me, We're not a circus act, who does a lot of spectacle, which is one way of going about it. If you're great at it, like maybe Kiss is great at spectacle, but how many bands are as great as Kiss at spectacle? It's got to be real. It's got to be human.
We're normal people who experience all these things in life, and by some gift, we happen to be gifted with musical talent, and we want to make everybody else have a good time. And it's the greatest thing to be up there on stage and see everybody getting off on your music. They get up and they start jumping around, and it's the greatest thing.
Everybody's got a gift of some sort. Everybody's good at something. Everybody,
I used to be good at painting. And I lost my brush.
But then the lady who owned the house fired him.
Then I lost the house I was painting.
It's obvious you also have very set ideals in terms of what your stage acts should be, in terms of what your studio
That's not
work
what
should
they
be.
are. That's just the whole thing. See, you call it a stage act, and it's not. This is the way we normally are. When we go and rehearse, Dave gets as crazy or loony, or whatever you want to call it, as ever. And he dresses up any way he wants to do.
And when we go out to get a hamburger,
the same way.
We dress basically the same way.
That's why we always get kicked out of every hotel. And we never get allowed at any hamburger stand or any place else.
Yeah.
You've already used one producer. What sort of attitude did you find that Ted Templeman had when he approached the band? Did he understand you immediately? Or was there any kind of discussion that had to be made before going into this?
Ted knew where we were at.
Yeah.
He came up, he saw us play live, and he came backstage after that show. He said, I'd like to produce you. And he said, I'd like to do it just like you're doing it up there. You know, it's a question of what we did is we went in and we recorded in a big room with the same kit that we use on stage, and I sung the songs at the same time in a little glass booth, and then it was done with almost no overdubs. There's 10, 11 songs on the record, maybe 3 of them have a guitar overdub on them, you know, to make up for the lack of visual. You know, when you see a show live, you can feel the bass. Not too many people have a stereo that can duplicate that. I don't even own a stereo, you know, so you make up for that a little bit. But he knew where we were at. He really didn't change the songs at all. I think he changed one, On Fire. He said, don't end that. Let's fade it out, you know.
It's great because a lot of producers that we had a lot of people we could pick from, or who wanted to pick from us once they found out we were signed with Warner Brothers. And as a matter of fact, one of them said that we wanted maybe to have producers said, this is going to be my record, you do it my way or don't do it at all. Yeah. So we told them, you know, goodbye. Because Ted Templeman made Van Halen sound like Van Halen. He produces a variety of bands, and each one sounds different. There's no stamp placed on that band.
And for better or worse, Van Halen sounds like
Van Halen.
You can be tuning the dial on your radio going, and all of a sudden, blam! There's Van Halen.
And you hear this,
and from now on, when you listen to your radio, you won't even have to know the song or have ever heard it by us before. You will know that it's Van Halen by the sound.
And he produced it for us.
Yes. Definitely. Absolutely. We put our pictures on the album cover so that you would know exactly what's inside.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, plastic.
But red plastic. No,
rather than putting some nice voluptuous girl with honey dripping on from her thighs, you know.
It's just,
of course, they could have had honey
4 people. 4 people, you know, making music. Making chaos out of this interview.
What about the future, though? Because it is an important stage, especially for everyone here in Britain, because the band have more or less taken the country by storm. And after the end of this tour, everybody's still asking, even all the gigs you've played in the past, even the Newcastle gig, which is a couple of weeks in the past now, everyone's still asking when you're going to get back here.
Van, you know, somebody, I don't remember his name, said, no future. And we say, man, this is the future. Van Halen is the 1980s, and we're gonna carry on right through the 1980s, man. This is the new wave here. We're making real songs. It's positive energy, and that's where the world is at. And we're going to carry on. We're going to come back to Britain. Sure, for sure we're coming back to Britain. They wouldn't have sent us this early in our career if they didn't think, you know, that we're going to be coming back every year. So look for us in your town, rock fans.
Given the music is based so much on the way that people live, and it will continue to be that in the future, do you ever envisage a time whereby, for instance, just hypothetically, that you found that maybe after you'd not been to a city for 2 or 3 years, or eventually you played one show where everything was so completely different, that you would change your music to match the kind of lifestyle that the people were living there?
Never, because people do not change. People do not change. All through the history of entertainment, through the history of religion, through the history of anything you can think of, people have always been the same. We fall in love, we fall out of love, we make love, we have a good time, we feel sad, we have a bad time. These are all the things, these are all the needs, you know, that people have catered to them through music, through theater, through whatever it is. And that's, you know, what we're going to carry on. People don't change. Just
not at all. For the next album, we do have 2 reggae songs too. No, we're going to change along with whatever we're going to do. It depends. We'll play, And as we always have, we'll see what the audience response is, and we communicate very well with the audience. So who knows? Maybe the next album may have a couple of acoustic songs on it. If we do have some acoustic songs.
You do hit what is very basic and what is invariably permanent, rather than
sure, because we are very basic. And
actually
we're very
reflecting
normal.
a passing phase, so to speak.
No. We're just being ourselves. And I hate to use this term, but what we do on stage and what we do in the studio and whatever is what we'd like to see. And by some stroke of luck, it happens to be the same thing everybody else likes. No, really,
Possibly because it is. You have gradually, after saying exactly what you based your music on, it has become more specific. It's not based on anything which is a passing phase, either politically or whatever.
True.
It's based on...
No, we're not singing about politics, we're not singing about religion, we're not singing about countries, not about space. We're singing about normal, human, everyday things. Feeling love tonight, Little Dreamer is, I can imagine. I remember when I was a little kid listening to Beatles songs, thinking that I wanted to be a drummer. And now when I hear Little Dreamer, it reminds me of that.
Yeah.
You were the little dreamer. You wanted to be the drummer in the band, and now I am the drummer.
And everybody voted you least likely to succeed. Now, how many times have we all gone through that? You know, that's going to touch people. And not just the words, because, we play in France, or we play somewhere where they don't know what I'm saying, what the words mean. But the music carries the same message. It carries the same feeling.
Did you go through any or many other phases as a band beforehand, before you really decided?
Sure, we were all mental hospitals. No. I'm kidding.
Or reform school. No, we played top 40.
We believe in music. That's the whole basic premise. To put a label on some kind of music is
some people say this is commercial or this is top 40 or what have you. When we used to play the bars, we'd play 45-minute sets a night, and do 20 nights in a row, 17 nights in a row like that. And it was all the same music, and it's all, there's only 12 notes to the scale. There's only so many different beats.
But yet, it was a variety of, you name top 40, or say Aerosmith, or Elvis, he plays some Elvis Presley tunes.
Or Isley Brothers, or James Brown.
Soul, or some Ohio players. But yet, every song that we played by whoever it was had our own sound to it.
Yeah.
Just like you really got me. That's where that song came from. Was our bar days when we used to play the clubs and such. And that song does not sound like the original. I didn't even get the lyrics right.
We tried it. We listened to the record a couple of times. And we said, well, let's play this song. And once we started playing it, the people loved it. The song is ageless. It's a great song.
Everyone's heard the music in a kind of general sort of mood similar to yours before, but it's just got that bit extra, which makes us think, why hasn't this been done before?
We don't know. We've been doing it all along, but it sure makes us feel good.
Well, I admire you for the fact that it seems to me anyway, that you've always had the attitude from the very beginning that you were always right.
Well, okay, you're right in one way.
And it looks as though you've
been talking too long.
I gotta say one thing.
You keep talking.
We always felt like we felt right, because even when we were working and we made no money at all, and we played, and we felt in our heart that was the music that people liked and what we liked. So it didn't matter money-wise. Because if we had not made an album or whatever, we'd still be playing the same music wherever we were. And that's really the doggone truth, man. As they say in America. And it is. Because we've been playing it for so long in bars, we've worked for nothing or close to nothing. We had barely enough money to eat or to buy new drumsticks or to buy new speakers for the PA or whatever. And still, we just kept it up because we loved it. We loved playing, and the people have a good time. It was great. Besides, all the girls were nice.
Yeah. Well, I think as far as the Northeast is concerned and everywhere else you've played, you actually are right. As far as the response is concerned, I can only get back to what I said at the very beginning. It is a long, long, long time since any band had the kind of reception before you even played here and before your album was even officially released in England and in Britain, as the Van Halen album did, even on import. So you've always have thought you were right, and you've had a good bet as well, because it is actually paying off for you. And for everyone else who listens to your music, in fact, all I can say is to, just on behalf of everyone else in the area, please play it back there again as soon as you can.
Sure, definitely.
Here we come.
Yeah.
Bring your seatbelts, rock fans.